Hello everyone, Kevin Dennis, Werner Technical Services. The topic for today's Tech Talk is capacity. So the weight of the worker and how it relates to the equipment. Harnesses, lanyards, SRLs, anchors, lifelines, etc., etc. First of all, capacity includes all of the weight. Worker, tools, boots, cell phone, water bottle, other PPE, anything that's hanging off the person is included. Second, and this is the big one, the capacity is a concern in regard to energy, not the braking strength. So it's the amount of force involved in the fall, not the braking strength of the equipment. Let me explain a little bit more. Take the anchorage, for example. It has a braking strength of 5,000 pounds, and its only purpose is to hold. This 5,000 pounds is a static load, dead weight. It will hold 5,000 pounds. The number we are concerned with for the safety of the person in regard to capacity is the arresting force of the system, which is a dynamic load. It's measured in foot-pounds. So it's the energy absorber in use that controls the force, not the harness or the anchor. This is where the concern lies with worker weight. The anchor is going to hold, providing we limit the force underneath the braking strength of the system. Same thing with a harness. Harness is not involved in the energy management part of a system. Its main purpose is to hold and contain the body. So size, fit, and adjustment of a harness is more important than user weight. Now, I know, harnesses and some anchors have capacities rating on them, and I'm not telling you to ignore the labels. But for fall arrest, look to the energy absorber first. That's where the capacity is most important. Okay. Now we'll get a little technical as to how these capacities are derived and why you see a difference between ANSI and OSHA capacities. Both organizations' capacities are rooted in several tests conducted years ago where a 220-pound test mass was used to represent the average worker. At the time, there was a 1.4 difference in test results conducted with the rigid test mass compared to the same tests using the human body. It was assumed that the body, being more fluid than a rigid test mass, was absorbing a percentage of the fall energy. Both OSHA and ANSI adopted a 1.4 conversion factor to translate the rigid test mass into a human capacity. A 220-pound test mass was considered equivalent to a 310-pound worker. 220 times 1.4 equals 308. There's a little bit of tolerance for the test mass, so the 308 pounds was rounded up to 310 pounds to make it easier. Over time, several sources have proven that the 1.4 conversion factor isn't accurate, especially when energy absorbers in use. ANSI moved from using the 1.4 conversion factor to a 1.1 conversion factor for a bit and is not using any conversion factor in recent and future standards. OSHA still allows for the use of the 1.4 conversion factor. So for ANSI tests, 310 pounds means 310 pounds. For OSHA tests, 310 pounds could mean 434 pounds. Now, the product being tested still has to keep forces within acceptable levels. For example, an SRL that has an OSHA capacity of 400 pounds means it was tested with a 285-pound test mass. 285 times 1.4 equals the 400. And that SRL passed the test. So for ANSI tests, the interpretation using the 1.4 conversion factor is not allowed. So it's the same device, it depends on which jurisdiction you need to follow. Both capacities are legal. It depends on your organization's policies if your safety or legal departments are okay with the heavier weights in the conversion factor or the ANSI capacities, which are a little more conservative. So for capacity, look at the energy absorber in use. The pack on the lanyard, the label on the SRL. You can also find the capacity inside the instructions. So go to the energy absorber first. That's the user weight you have to stay under. And you will find that the harness and anchorage connector will be within those capacities. So I hope this helps. Thank you very much. Reach out to Werner or your local rep if you have any questions.